The main theme of this video is repairing vise and what might break, but how to fix it if it does. Now what I've got is, I have two vises from Harbor Freight. They say things like Central Machinery and Central Forge on them, I believe. Anyway, this one, the blue one, I've had it for about 15 years, and over that time I've had two parts of it break. One part that broke was one of these locking screws on the side, and I replaced that with just a regular bolt and an extra nut. And so you, rather than use this handy dandy little handle on the side, you have to get out your wrenches and use that to tighten it so it either pivots or doesn't pivot. The other thing that broke, and it happened recently, and I knew when it happened, I said, oh, that sounds serious. And what it was the bolt that locates, this is the nut that attaches to the lead screw and then basically connects the lead screw to the body of the fixed part of the vise. And it had broken off. And this is the new one I got, and it'll fit right down through there like that. And then that'll screw into the nut which goes to the lead screw, which is on the movable jaw. The old one, I don't know what grade it was. It's shiny and silver colored. This is the same bolt that's off the brand new 6-inch vise, and this is one I just bought today, and it's a grade 8 with a special kind of lock washer, and it may be that this might be something in addition to going up in size so it's thicker. The grade of toughness and strength in the bolt makes a difference also. And you can have bolts that look the same from across the room, but they'll vary quite a bit in how strong they are. This vise, the old one, it's got these square nuts that go on the bottom, and then the machine can rotate around, but they can't rotate around all the way, just part way. The new one has a casting, and so you have these lock screws here, and they pull up on this, but this thing can rotate all the way. Now it's not steel, it's a cast iron, and so I don't know how strong it is, but it looks strong. And I noticed on one of the videos I watched, and generally when I do a video like this, I watch all the ones that are out there on the subject. And this kind of part held up pretty well. This is the lead screw that's on the old one. There's nothing that I saw that was worn or had any problems. This is the new one. It's a little bit thicker, and the thread is a little bit thicker. But I don't know, it's not a big amount. And here's the actual numbers. I'm not going to read them all off. If you're interested, you can do a print screen. But basically, the parts of the blue vise that broke under my use 15 years on a small farm, they're all substantially larger on the 6-inch vise. And things that didn't break on the blue vise, they aren't any bigger on the 6-inch than they were on the 4-inch. Okay, there it is. It's a little tricky because the bolt inside can wiggle. And then once it's in place and the set screw or the connecting bolt is in, then this piece here can be tightened up. Okay, all right, that's back together. Now this one is a little bit different in that the bolt, where is it? The opposite side is threaded. So the bolt comes in from this side. Right there. But once again, you want that tail be pointing away from the movable jaw. Okay, well that's re-engaged now. Now when I first started to take this one apart, down at this end here, there was a cotter pin through the lead screw. And it was just a dinky little cotter pin. And I didn't know that it was a cotter pin. I thought it was just a rough spot on the lead screw. And I almost unscrewed it all the way through the nut, but I didn't. I stopped. But I've taken that out. I think that's an unnecessary part. Okay, so the things that broke on this one, they're fixable. They seem to be better made on this one. This one has metric bolts. This one has inch bolts. The one, probably the best thing for most people is something like chainsaw lubricant. And just going to put a little bit down on the lead screw. That'll keep it lubricated. And the idea is that with oil, if you get enough oil on it, that drips off, and you may not get a buildup of dirt. Now, if you're grinding, if you're holding stuff in the vise and grinding and throwing abrasives all over the place, you may not want to grease it. But one of the nice things about this design is that the lead screw is covered. There's a bunch of vices. I'm not sure whether they are this way at Harbor Freight on any of them, but where the lead screw is right in this area here, or this is smaller, but this design is pretty nice. It's got a complete cover over the lead screw, so most dirt is not going to fall on it. Now the other thing that's nice about these, and I thought about when I was looking at vices and thinking, well, if I get a different vise, what would it be? And I was thinking that the only real problem I've had with this blue vise, other than the fact that its parts have broken a couple of times, but that's usually the operator's fault. But it's only got a 4-inch wide set of jaws. And when I put the vise up, the thing I do most often is clamp on the bar of a chainsaw. And then I'm sharpening the chainsaw. Now that means a couple of things. One, it means I don't want a vise that's much taller than this one. This one was 6 1/4 from the table to the top of the jaw. This one's 7 inches, and it would be 6 1/4 if I took away the rotation part down here at the bottom. Many of the other vices I looked at, they get up to 9 or 10 inches up, and I think that's just too tall. And then there's some other ones where, in addition to being tall, they had really neat features, like they had the anvil was up here, and there was another one that had the anvil up here, and then a second set of jaws that were facing this way, so you could take this out and put it around and get a different length. And but all of those things kind of went against my original plan of using it while sharpening chainsaws, because you want to be able to get your hands on both sides, and sometimes you want to be tilted a little bit, and so you can't have it flat up here like that. But somebody else might. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for other videos, put them in the comment section. I really find that interesting. There we are, all mounted, chainsaw in. It seems to be rigid. This vise is metric all the way through. I was silly enough to buy 3 1/2-inch diameter bolts because I had looked at the holes and said, oh, 1/2 inch. And they're not, they're 12 millimeters. So either get 12 millimeter, or it's not very much material, but it's enough so that the bolts just laugh at you. So you have to run a 1/2 inch drill through it, or take a few minutes with a rat tail file. But it's up and nicely rigid. The edge of the stationary face is just over this edge of the table, and looks nice. I'm feeling optimistic about how it's going to do for the next 15 years.